I'm Lieutenant R.C. Christian with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. I've been a trooper now for 22 years, and prior to that I worked in EMS for at least 4 years.
I'm Brandon Smith, Paramedic and Public Safety Officer for Putnam County 911 and EMS. Since 1999, I've had the privilege of serving our community in the public education role as well as a paramedic. One of the hardest times that we see in emergency services are when a child, an innocent child, is injured or killed because of something that was preventable.
In 2004, a very major change took place in Tennessee's seatbelt law. And one of the reasons that happened was because some of the advancements in technologies in cars, kind of caused us to have to back up and reevaluate how we were doing things as far as restraint devices were concerned and what we did and what took place in cars. Now, one of the most interesting things that we find that people don't understand is the proper placement of a seatbelt while they're riding in a car. And the importance of when that seatbelt is bothering you or itching the side of your neck, that you don't raise that arm and put it under your arm or something such as that. We show them the proper placement of that seatbelt, which comes right across here, and we show them the importance of putting it in their hip area where their hip bones are. We even move to show them, why we do that and what we do, because that's the solid part in your body. We try to teach them to stay away from the soft parts, because you think about your abdomen and the most important things that's there and organs that are vital for your survival, and there's no bones there to absorb the impact in a crash.
The most important thing we really try to get across with the belts to bones concept is that your seatbelt works if you wear it correctly. If you're not wearing it correctly, it does no good whatsoever. In a lot of cases can even do more damage, like Lieutenant Christian was talking about with it coming across the abdomen, can do more damage if you're only wearing it partially as opposed to wearing the seatbelt the way it's designed. With children, the bones are much more pliable than with adults. So the extra seatbelts don't really harm them in the fact that when the crash forces occur, the bones will tend to bend a little bit and give for that crash force and spring back to where they were normally.
I guess one of the interesting things is Brandon and I have done these programs, multiple times together, and it's kind of an amazing chemistry, because we kind of feed off of each other. Another thing that I like doing is getting down on their level, looking at them eye to eye. That's a powerful thing, because, then they feel comfortable. You're that officer or you're that EMT that's, there, and you're on my level. You're right there on my level with me. And, sometimes it's an interesting thing on how you've got to, as an officer anyway, to open and break that ice with kids, because you never know what kind of things that they've, experienced in their lives.
It's more of a team concept. There's not one person who is necessarily speaking on each specific point. A lot of times just having the presence of someone in plain clothes, be it a volunteer, a teacher, having the presence of Ollie in the room, and then having the presence of a uniform in the room, be it EMS, law enforcement, firefighters, anybody who the children can look up to as a uniformed professional makes a big difference in the program, just being in the room with them. Even though you may not be the one that's standing in front of the room speaking, you can emphasize the point that person's trying to make by holding up a booster seat, or while they're talking about the belts to bones, you can also be mimicking the same motions that they're using to teach the program. Lieutenant Christian was talking about getting down on their level. Remember, you have 500 children that are seated on a gymnasium floor in front of you. You need to get down on their level, but still keep it where they can pay attention to what's going on. Have fun with it. Have a good time. Have fun with the kids, and they will learn so much more.
You can educate parents even on this, and our part of coming in here, depending on if I'm doing the program or if Brandon's doing the program, whoever can come that particular day, is to let them know not only does that seat boost them up, but that belt has got to fit them properly to properly do its job. If it's not on there, more damage can result to a child, who, you think about a 50-mile-per-hour crash. And, it's very simple to kind of figure the speed and the amount of force that they're going to hit a seatbelt with. And the proper placement of that is critical to their survival. If they don't understand that, then you see kids that may just have a lap belt only. And we picture a scenario from time to time of a child running just as hard as they can, and then all of a sudden you stick your arm out and catch them. What's going to happen? If you hold them at the shoulders, their feet's going to fly out from under. If you hold them in the abdomen, they're going to kind of make a horseshoe type shape. belts to bones, wearing that seatbelt properly is just as crucial as that booster seat boosting them up. It's an overall approach to the program. It's an overall thing to teach them to wear restraint devices properly, and that's why we do that. And learning that is just as important as learning the law and learning, what they're required to do, but, doing it properly, because, their survival could depend on that as well, especially at high impact speeds.
A lot of times when you do the program, you're going to have a group of parents in the room. And those parents may be teachers, or you may have parents that are coming in to observe the program, or that maybe just walk in the midst of the program. One of the most important things we need to stress to parents is not only to buckle your children up and buckle them up correctly, but it does no good whatsoever if the parent in the vehicle is not buckled as well. A lot of children and a lot of other occupants, especially we see this with a teenage group, are injured or killed every year because someone else in the vehicle was not restrained. And when that body moves about inside the vehicle during the crash, it can injure or kill someone else that's in the vehicle. So getting everybody to buckle up in the car is just as important as getting one person to buckle.
I remember an experience that I had as well, where a young mother took the time to properly put her child in a car seat and a child restraint device and didn't buckle up herself, and she had a rollover crash that, she lost her life in it. And you'll never forget a child that's sitting there crying for their mom. The child was upside down. Of course, the car rolled on its top, screaming for its mom and knowing that, she's never going to get her back. That's the kind of things that sticks out in your mind. That's the kind of things that you take home with you. And that's the kind of things when you're thinking about, how can I make a difference in this child's life? You want to display that to them. Teach my parents, do whatever it takes. We talked about getting down on their level. That is very important. Because once again, we stressed, we don't know what kind of situations that these children have been in. Every time at the end of the program, we meet over there, and that's another time for you to interact with children. They're going to tell you stories. I've had them tell me a lot of interesting things. My mom and daddy fights, stuff like that. You'd be amazed what you're going to hear. But you get in there and you gel with them, for lack of a better way to put it. They can see, hey, I like this man. This is a man that I can go to when I need help. And we try to let them know that when I need help, I can look to this uniform and know that that's my comfort zone. That's someone that's going to be there for me when I need them. You can look at this uniform right here. It's the exact same thing. That's somebody that's there to help me. And the more that you get out of these schools and the more that you show them that, that's what we need to be doing. And I guess one of the, even a better thing is to go back to that school, and if they can see you again, even if you go back in another year, they're going to remember you, because, that's part of being out there. That's part of, not only doing your job, but, I guess taking care of our future is the only other way I know to put it.
The programs that we're doing in the schools are really just the beginning of what we're trying to get across and what we're trying to accomplish. A center called the Child Passenger Safety Resource Center oversees a group of technicians, child passenger safety technicians. And we're educated several hours on how to correctly install seats, how to correct minor problems, and how to foresee the unforeseeable things that really don't fit in the book, that are in the gray area. One of the most important things that we do as child passenger safety technicians is we set up checkpoints throughout our local communities. And in those checkpoints, folks are asked to drive through the checkpoint. They stop. We go over their child safety seat with them. We talk about how the child should be restrained in the seat. We talk about how the seat should be restrained inside the vehicle, because there are really two parts to that. There are no tickets that are written during this process. This is not a we look down upon you because you're not using it correctly. As we said before, a majority of seats are used incorrectly. And it's not that they're grossly negligent or they're terribly wrong. There just may be one or two things that we could do better or do safer. And that's one of the things we try to get across with this. So we encourage anybody who has any questions after the program about whether their seat's correct or not, to reach out to a local child passenger safety center and a local technicians to look at their seat. The easiest way to do that is to go to the OLLI website, which is www.seatbeltvolunteer.org, and click on the link that takes you to the Tennessee Traffic Safety Resource Center.
There's no shame in not understanding how car seats work.
Absolutely.
You get one and you open that big manual, you're like, it's just overwhelming. But you got to remember, we're parents too, and our goal is to see that these babies are safe and they're in these seats, and that they're in there properly. But hey, let us help you. That's what we're here for.